Hello children, good morning. Hi children, good morning. I welcome you all to today's video class. Today's video class is in the form of a revision grammar class. In this revision video class, you are going to learn the things which you have learned already. That is tenses, voices, speech, reported speech, subject-verb agreement. In today's revision video class, I am going to explain once again the basic rules connected with the tenses, voices, speech and subject-verb agreement. Okay children, you have learned already all these chapters and you have done a lot of exercises with good examples. And in today's video class, I am just going to give a recapture the things which you have learned in other classes. Okay fine, let's start today's video class with tenses. You know that children, what is tenses? Tense is the time of an action. Tense is the time of an action. It is nothing but the form of a particular verb. The form of a particular verb, that form shows the time of action, when the action was done by the subject. So tense is a form of a verb that shows the time of an action. You know that the major tenses are following. Major tenses are following: present tense, past tense and future tense. And these major tenses are further subdivided into continuous tenses and perfect tenses and perfect continuous tenses. So altogether we have 12 tenses in English. So present tense. Let me write all the things. So tenses. What do you mean by tenses? Tenses is nothing but time of action. Time of action is a form of a verb that shows the time of action or when the action was done by the subject. So we have three major tenses: present, past and future. These three major tenses are further subdivided into continuous tenses, perfect tenses and perfect continuous tenses. So altogether we have 12 tenses. Okay fine. Now how to find out these tense form of the verbs? For that we have some procedure. For that we have some test rules that you have to follow. So present tense. First to begin with present tense. Where we can use this present tense? So mostly present tense is a form of a verb that helps us to refer to action done at present time, at the present moment. So mostly we use present tense to refer to habitual action, regular action, universal truth and scientific truth. To refer to all these things we use present tense. Okay fine. Next to past tense. Where we can use this past tense? We use this past tense to refer to the completed actions. The action which was completed a long time ago. Okay fine. So past tense is identified some time markers. With the help of time marker we can easily identify the past form of a verb. Good, nice. Next to future. What do you mean by future tense? The action is going to take place. Future tense is nothing but action to be taken place. You may have a lot of plan to carry on, to execute certain things in your future that can be expressed with the help of future tense. Okay children, very nice. So now you have learnt, already you have learnt, and now you have got a recapture, an idea what is tense, what are the types of tenses, where we can use this present, where we can use this past, where we can use this future. And we have time marker. To refer to present tense, how can you identify the present tense? When you are given exercises, you have to identify the present tense. With the help of the time marker and with the help of the textual reference, you can identify easily the tense form of the verbs. To identify the present tense, present form of the verb, we have a lot of keywords, that is time markers. Usually, generally, every day, every moment, every month, now, at present, at this moment. So we have like this time marker. These time markers help us to identify the present form of the verb. Next to past. To identify past tense also, we have good time markers. What are the time marks which help us to identify the past tense? Last week, last month, last year, once upon a time, long ago, previous day, previous week. These are the time markers which help us to identify past tense. Okay, to identify future tense, what are the time markers are available? Next week, next month, forthcoming days, so next day, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, all these time markers, soon, all these time markers help us to identify the future tenses. Okay children, with all these basic rules, now I am going to give you some exercises and I will give you answers also. So it helps you to revise the things and with that you can be ready for the terminal exam 3. Okay, fine. See, let me give you some exercises. I write all these things on the board one by one. See, tenses. Honesty dash the best policy. Honesty dash the best policy. C. 2. India dash celebrate. India dash celebrate its independence. Its independence. India celebrates its independence every year on 15th August or celebrate Independence Day on 15th August. Independence Day on 15th August. Okay, fine. Third one, at present, he dash. At present, he dash work. At present, he dash work as a teacher in the school. As a teacher in a school. Okay, and fourth one. See, at the moment, he dash prepare his assignment. Dash prepare his assignment. Now, look at the blackboard, children. Now look at this board. How to identify tense form of the verbs which has been given within the bracket. So, honesty, that's best policy. Honesty is the best policy. So, the first sentence is a proverb and it's a famous saying. So, when you have proverbs or sayings of great people, then you have to use always present form of the verb. So, here within the bracket they have given be. You know that be form of the verbs is, am, are, was and were. Okay, so honesty is the best policy. Second, India celebrates its Independence Day on 15th August every year. So it's a celebration. It is happening every year. So usually, generally, so we celebrate those things. So it refers to the present state. So India celebrates. When you are talking about the happening of certain things periodically, there you have to use simple present tense. At present, he does work as a teacher in the school. So here we are talking about the action happening or going on at the moment. So at present, he is working. At present, he is working as a teacher in a school. So here we use present progressive tense. Present progressive. Okay. At the moment, now, at present, these are all the time marker which help us to identify present progressive tense. Okay, fine. At the moment, he is preparing. At the moment, he is preparing his assignment. Okay. So, I will give you some more exercises to understand all types of tenses. So, when you are going to give the answer, when you are going to identify the tense form, you have to follow the keywords. So with the help of the keywords, you can easily identify the correct tense form of the verb. Okay. And see, recently, fifth one, recently they complete their project. They complete their project. Full stop. Next, sixth one. And that train leave the platform. Okay. Then seventh one, our teacher take this class since 10 a.m. Take this class since 10 a.m. Okay, fine. Next, eighth one. And the cats drink milk for the last 1 hour. Milk for the last 1 hour. 1 hour. Okay. Then 91. Mother Teresa dedicate her life. Mother Teresa dedicate her life to serve the poor and the needy. To serve the poor. Now, see, look at all these exercises, children. You are going to find out the correct tense form of the verb given within the bracket. Okay, I will explain. I will help you to identify recently. This is the time marker. This refers to the action which has been completed recently. So there we have to use present perfect tense. Recently they have completed. When you talk about the recent completed action, there you have to use present perfect tense. So recently they have completed. The train has just left the platform. So here also you have to use the present perfect tense, because then you have just already, recently, just now. When you have these types of time markers, there you are supposed to use present perfect tense. Okay. Our teacher take this class since 10 a.m. Our teacher has been taking. Here you have to use present perfect progressive tense, present perfect continuous tense, because since and for. These two keywords are mostly associated with the present perfect continuous tenses. Okay, when you are talking about an action which is started already, it's going on, still it is in progressive. In such cases, you have to use present perfect continuous tense. Okay, our teacher has been taking this class since 10 a.m. The cats has drink milk for the last 1 hour. See here you have used for. So this is since and for. These keywords are associated with present perfect continuous tenses. Since is used for the beginning of an action. When an action started. For is used for the duration of an action. Since, beginning of an action. For duration of an action. You should know the difference, children. Okay, fine. So the cats have been drinking. The cats have been drinking milk for the last 1 hour. Mother Teresa has dedicated her life to serve the poor. Mother Teresa, here it's a past tense. So past form of the verb. Mother Teresa dedicated. Mother Teresa dedicated her life to serve the poor. Sometimes you don't have any time marker in the sentence to identify the tense form, but the context of the sentence gives you some idea to identify tense form of the verb. Here in the context, it happened a long time ago. Mother Teresa once dedicated her life during her lifetime. So it refers to the past happening. Therefore, we use the past tense dedicated. Okay, children. Next, I will give you some more exercises. Okay, before he reached the station, before he reached the station, the train leave the platform. The train does leave the platform. Okay, next another one. When he does walk along the road he does see an accident. He see an accident. Okay. Next, after he dash complete. After he dash complete his work. He dash after complete his work. He dash out to play. He dash go out to play. Okay. Now, how to identify tense form of the verbs in these exercises? Let me explain, children. Before he does reach the station, the train leave the platform. Here, comparison is made, or here two actions are expressed. Two completed actions are expressed. In this case, the first completed one should be expressed in the past perfect tense. The second completed one should be expressed in the simple past. So before he reached the station. Here he reaching the station. This is on a completed action. Leaving the platform is another action. So which took place first? The train had left the platform took place first. Because before he reached the station, so the train had left. So the train had left. The action of leaving the platform took place first. Therefore we use past perfect tense there. And the second one we use simple past. You know this procedure, children. See, when you compare two past actions, the first completed one should be expressed in the past perfect tense. The second completed one should be expressed in the simple past. That is a procedure we have to follow. That's a rule of grammar. Okay, fine. Second one, when we walk along the road, we see an accident. Here also, two actions are expressed. Two actions. One is a long one. That is happening for a long time. Another one happens suddenly. So short duration. So the action with the long duration should be expressed in the past continuous tense. And the action of short duration should be expressed in the simple past. So when he was walking along the road, he saw an accident. So when he was walking along the road, he saw an accident. Then after he does complete his work, He does go out to play. After he had completed. After he had completed his work, he went out to play. Here also we used the same procedure. The same rules is also perceived here. The first completed one, the first completed action should be expressed in the past perfect tense. The second one should be expressed in the simple past. Okay, children. So now I have given you ample exercises in the tenses, in the chapter tenses. So already I explained in previous video classes what is tense, what are kinds of tenses, how to identify tenses, what are the keywords, what are the time markers, everything have been taught to you and you have learned it thoroughly, no doubt in it, children. And just it is only the things which has been revised in this video class. Okay, fine. Next day, I am going to give you some basic idea or in the form of a revision, that is active and passive voice. Okay, what is voice? How can we identify? Let me explain all those things one by one. Get ready, children. Voices. Okay. You should know what do you mean by voices. Voice is a form of a verb. Voice is a form of a verb that shows whether an action is done by the subject or whether the action is done to the subject. Whether the subject is the doer of the action or whether the subject is the receiver of the action. That can be expressed with the help of the voices. Okay, so voice is also nothing but a form of the verb. It shows whether the subject, that is the doer of the action, is the doer or the receiver. Okay, sometimes the action is done by the subject, sometimes the action is done to the subject. You should know the difference. Voices are all of two types. One is active form. Active voice, generally we call it active voice. And another one is passive voice. Okay, fine. You know that what is active voice, what is passive voice. If we give importance only to the doer, that is the subject, then we use active form. But the doer is not important, only the action is important. If we give importance to the action, then passive voice is used. This is the basic difference that exists. Okay, that you should know. So in active form, importance is given to the doer, that is the subject. Okay, because there the action is done by the subject. In the passive voice, the importance is given not to the subject, not to the doer, but to the action. Because action is done to the subject, so action is very important. So this is the basic difference. Okay, already you have learned how to change a sentence in active form into passive form. Various rules already we have discussed that. Okay, so suppose present tense subject is singular is plus past participle. Present tense subject is plural or plus past participle. Past tense subject is singular was plus past participle. Past tense subject is plural were plus past participle. Future tense whether the subject is singular or plural will plus be plus past participle. That is a procedure. Okay, fine. Next, continuous tenses. What procedure, what rule you will follow there? Is plus be plus past participle or plus be plus past participle. Okay, fine. Past tense, past progressive, continuous form, object singular, was plus be plus past participle. Object plural, were plus be plus past participle. For future continuous, there is no passive form. Okay, for future continuous, there is no passive form. Next, come to the perfect tenses. Present perfect, object singular mean has plus be plus past participle. If the object is plural, present perfect tense have plus be plus past participle. Okay, then past perfect tense. Object singular or plural, whatever may be, you have to use had plus be plus past participle. Future perfect, whether the object is singular or plural, you have to follow will plus have plus be plus past participle. Okay, then for perfect continuous tenses, we don't have any passive form. So out of 12 tenses, we have passive form only for 8 tenses. And what are the tenses for which we don't have passive voice, future continuous one, then all three perfect continuous tenses, present perfect continuous tenses, past perfect continuous tenses, future perfect continuous tenses. For these tenses, we don't have any passive form. Okay, children. Now let me give you some exercises how to change a sentence from active to passive. I will also explain the basic rules behind that. Okay, fine. The man drove the car. The man drove the car. Second, the old lady watered the plants. See, the old lady watered the plants. Okay, watered the plants. Third one, he has cut the telephone wires. He has cut the telephone wires. He has cut the telephone wires. Okay, fine. Fourth one, they have suspended the match. They have suspended the match. Now, let me explain how these sentences are changing from active to passive. The man drove the car. What's the tense form of the verb? Past tense. Object singular. So you have to apply the rules. Was plus past participle. So what's the answer? The car was driven. The car was driven. The car was driven by the man. So the car was driven by the man. That's a passive form. Then the old lady watered the plants. Here also the tense form of the verb is past tense. So the plants were watered. The plants were watered by the old lady. The plants were watered by the old lady. He has cut the telephone wires. The telephone wires. See, the telephone wires have been cut. The telephone wires have been cut by him. The telephone wires have been cut by him. Next, they have suspended the match. See, has suspended. Present perfect. If the object is singular, has plus been plus past participle. The match has been suspended. The match has been suspended by them. So in this way, you have to follow, you have to observe the basic principles behind this transformation of sentences, that is from active to passive. You have to follow very carefully. Now, I'll give you some more exercises. So those exercises also will help you to understand this process, that is the transformation rules clearly. Her behavior annoys me. See, her behavior annoys me. Okay, her behavior annoys me. And then the museum guide always answers the visitor's question. See, the museum guide. The museum guide always answers the visitors' questions. Okay. And then he asked me to come again. He asked me to come again. Now see, pay attention children, how these sentences are to be transformed into passive form. See, her behavior annoys me, simple present tense. So you have to use is if the object is singular. You have to use are if the object is plural. See, her behavior is a subject, annoys verb me is an object. So when it comes here as a subject, we should be changed into I. I am annoyed. I am annoyed by her behavior. I am annoyed by her behavior. So this is the answer. Okay, the second one. The museum guide always answers the visitors' questions. Here literally is the object. The museum guide is a subject. Always is an adverb. Answers is a verb, present form. The visitors' questions is an object. Okay, so that should be changed into as a subject. The visitors' questions, see the answer. The visitors' questions. The visitors' questions are always answered or always answered by the museum guide. By the museum guide. So we see always is an adverb of frequency. So you should not change the place of adverb of frequency. Okay, fine. He asked me to come again. He subject, asked verb, me object. It should be changed into I. I asked, was asked, because past tense. I was asked to come. I was asked to come again by him. I was asked to come again by him. Okay, so in this way, you can change the given statements from active to passive form. Sometimes you may have more than one object, two objects in a sentence. At such occasion, two passive form. You have to write two passive form. For that, I will give you one example. Listen to me carefully, children. See, sentence with two objects are English teacher. English teacher taught us grammar. Our English teacher taught us grammar. Here you have two objects. Our English teacher is a subject. Taught verb is in the past form. What he taught grammar, direct object, to whom as indirect object. If you have two objects means you have to write two passive form. By using active form, by using direct object first. Grammar. See, let me write answer. Grammar was taught. Grammar was taught to us. Grammar was taught to us by our English teacher. By our English teacher. Okay. Next, by using indirect object, you can frame one more passive sentence as to be changed into we. We were taught. We were taught. We were taught grammar. We were taught grammar by our English teacher. By our English teacher. So this is the way. When you have two objects in the sentence, you have to write two passive form. Okay, children, could you follow me? Next, interrogative sentences. If you have interrogative sentences, how to change such interrogative sentences into passive form? So you may have interrogative sentences. So interrogative sentences should be changed into passive form. For that also we have some procedure. Do you like English novels? See, interrogative sentences. Interrogative sentences. Okay. Do you like English novels? Don't forget to put the question mark at the end. So second, have you completed your project? Have you completed your project? Question mark. Third one, what books do you like? What books do you like? What books do you like? Third question. And then fourth one, who will finish all these works? Who will finish on this work? Who will finish all these works? Okay, listen now. See, when you have interrogative sentences, you have to change it into passive. And the passive sentence also in the form of an interrogative. That's very important. See, do you like English novels? When you are going to change this sentence, interrogative sentence into passive form, see, do plus like, simple present. So we can use is or are for to frame passive interrogative sentence. Okay, then you just change you like English novels. Or English novels object or English novels liked by you. Liked by you. Okay. So are English novels liked by you? It is a passive form. It is also in the interrogative structure. See, have you completed your work? Have you completed your project? Here, see, your project is an object. Has your project been completed? Has your project been completed by you? Has your project been completed by you? We here the present perfect tense. The tense form is present perfect tense. Therefore, we have to use has plus been or have plus been. Okay, so the object is singular. That's the thing. Has your project been completed by you? Okay, fine. What books do you like? See, these two questions, can you find difference between these two questions and the last two sets of questions? Yeah. They are resolved questions. They are called verbal questions because all these questions begin with the verb. But here we just compare these two questions begins with the question word. They are called the question word questions or WH questions. Okay, fine. What books do you like? What books? What books? Do you like? Do plus like simple present. What books are liked by you? What books are liked by you? Here you are changing the sentence into passive form and the passive sentence is in the form of a question. Who will finish all these works? Who should be changed into by who? By who will all these works, by whom will all these works be finished? Be finished. Because who is the subject here? So by whom will all these works be finished? So this is the procedure you have to follow. Okay, fine, children. Next I will give you some example for imperative sentences also. Sometimes you may have some imperative sentences. How these sentences can be changed into passive form. Okay, fine. You know the different sentences may be in the form of command, request, order, or it may be in any form. You have to follow the basic rules for to change imperative sentences. One or two examples. Imperative sentences. How can you change these imperative sentences? See, please hurry up. Please work on the door. Please work on the door. It's a request. You request someone to do some work for you. Okay, drive the car slowly. Drive the car slowly. Okay, and one more example. Open the door for your mother. That's I have already given. Let him take the car. Let him take the car. Now see children, I have given you three imperative sentences. You have to change these sentences into passive. Please open the door. Here, you are requested. You are requested to open the door. You are requested to open the door. Let the door be opened. But there, the structure is not appropriate. That's the thing that we use this structure. You are requested to open the door. Suppose if the person to whom you are going to give that instruction is not given there, then you can use let plus past participle structure can be used. Okay, fine. Drive the car slowly. Let the car be driven. Let the car be driven slowly. Or you are instructed or you are asked to drive the car slowly. That is also equally possible. Okay, fine. Drive the car slowly, let the car be driven slowly, or you are instructed to drive the car slowly. Let him take the car. Let him take the car. Let the car be taken. Let the car be taken by him. Let the car be taken by him. Okay, children. So you have learned or you have just revised the basic principles of changing a given sentence from active to passive. Okay. Then what's the third one? Direct and indirect. How to change a sentence in the direct form into a sentence in indirect form. Let me explain. I'll give you some examples in the form of exercises. Direct speech. Okay, fine. Third one, direct and then indirect. You should know the difference. Suppose the message or the words spoken by someone can be transformed or can be conveyed, can be reported to somebody else. So that comes under the title reported speech. Suppose if we use the exact words of the speaker, then that form is said to be in direct form. You didn't use the exact words of the speaker. Only the message or the content is conveyed to someone else, some third person. Then you are supposed to use the indirect form. Okay, this is the basic difference. If you use the exact words of the speaker, then the form is said to be in direct speech or the direct form. If you don't use the exact words of the speaker, but the idea or the content is alone conveyed to a third person. Then you use your own expression. Then that is said to be in the direct form. Okay, children, do you understand the difference between direct and indirect form? Very good. Now, I will give you some sentences. Before that, let me explain some basic principles that exist behind this transformation of sentences. So, basic three tables: changes of pronoun, changes of tenses, changes of words. You have learned already. Just to remember those things, just to try to recall those things which you have learned already. Yeah. Now, then, this, that, these, those, here, there, today, that day, tomorrow, the next day, yesterday, the previous day. So these words, when you have these words in the direct speech, these words will be changed into these words in the direct speech. Okay? Now then, this, that, these, those, here, there, I go there. Okay, it's this way. Okay, fine. Next, changes of personal pronouns. I should be changed into he or she. Okay. We should be changed into they. You should be changed into he or she if it is singular. You should be changed into they if it is plural. Okay, fine. They are all the subject form of the pronouns. Then sometimes you may have object form of the pronoun in a sentence. Me should be changed into him or her. As should be changed into them. You should be changed into he or him or her. And last, you if it is plural, them. Okay. Possessive adjectives. My, his or her. Our should be changed into their. Your, his or her. Suppose it is plural, their. Okay, fine. So, and other tense, you know that present family should be changed into past family. Then past family of the tenses should be changed into past perfect family. These are all the basic principles that is to be observed when you are going to change a given sentence from direct speech into indirect speech. Okay, now I will give you sentences. See, you know that 4 types of sentences. 4 types of sentences. Based on the function, sentences are classified into 4 types. Statement, because it states something. Interrogative, it raises questions, therefore it is called the question sentences. Imperative, it gives orders and commands, therefore it is called the imperative sentences. Exclamative sentences, it is an outcome of sudden excitement, therefore that is called exclamative sentences. So you should know how these 4 types of sentences should be changed into passive, should be changed into indirect form. Okay, fine. See, first one, statement. He said, I love drinking coffee. Otherwise, I like to read books. Okay. So it's a statement. You know that in the statement, said should be written as it is. Then you have to use a connecting word that, conjunction. Okay. So he said that I stand for him should be changed into he. Likes present form of the verb should be changed into past tense. So he said that he liked to read books. Okay. So now you are changing the given sentence from direct into indirect form. Next, he said to him. He said to him, I watched a dance program on TV yesterday. I watched a dance program. I watched a dance program on TV yesterday. Okay, see the sentence. This is also a statement, but here he said something to someone, him. Okay, so the reporting verb is said to. That should be changed into told. He told him that another word he watched the past tense should be changed into past perfect tense. He had watched a dance program. He had watched a dance program on TV. Yesterday should be changed into the previous day. Okay, children. So when you have given sentence in statement form, that is statements, you have to change the given statement into indirect speech by following all these principles. Okay. Next, I will give you some sentences in other form. See, suppose if you have sentences in the question forms, how to change such types of sentences, and see, he said to his teacher, do you teach these rules? Do you reach these rules again? So he said to his teacher, do you teach these rules again? Second, the policeman said to him, what's your father? Okay, see, mother said to her son, mother said to her son, will you come back? When will you come back from school? Okay. Now listen how these interrogative sentences should be changed into indirect speech. He said to should be changed into asked. He asked his teacher. He asked his teacher. You know that what is the connecting word? Yeah, if. He asked his teacher if. Then the subject should come. You have to take out the subject. Then the helping verb and the main verb should join together. So he asked his teacher if he do plus teach. What's the past form? Thought. If he thought those rules again. Okay, so remove the question mark and put the full stop. He asked his teacher if you should be changed into he or she. Do plus teach should join together. Present form. What's the past form? Thought. If he thought those rules again. Okay, fine. The policeman said to him, what's your father? The policeman. Here you can use the reporting verb. Instead of said to asked, you can also use the inquired. The policeman inquired. Asked. The policeman asked him what? Here what's the connecting word? If a question starts with a question word, the question word itself should be used as a connecting word. What his father was. To the full stop. Okay, fine. See the third one. Mother said to her son, when will you come back from school? Mother asked her son when. Connecting word when. Then you should be changed into he. Will comes to join together. That should be changed into would come. When he would come back from school. When he would come back from school. That's okay. So this procedure, these principles, these rules of transformation should be followed when you are going to transform the given interrogative sentence from direct into indirect speech. Okay. I will give you one or two examples for imperative sentences also. That's also very important. Imperative sentences, how imperative sentences should be changed into indirect speech. The master said to the servant, go and buy some vegetables. Go and buy some vegetables. Okay, then the tourist said to the guide, please direct me to reach the nearby bank. Please direct me to reach or guide me to reach the nearby bank. So here you have two types of imperative sentences. The master said to the servant, go and buy some vegetables. So the master ordered the servant to go and buy some vegetables. Okay. Second one. The tourist said to the guide, please direct me to reach the nearby bank. The tourist requested the guide to direct him to reach the nearby bank. That's all. Okay, so from these examples and exercises, what you have learned? For statements, you have to use the connecting word that. For interrogative sentences, especially verbal questions, you have to use the connecting word if or whether. And then for sentences like this, that is, imperative sentences, then you have to use the connecting word to. Okay, fine. The last one, exclamatory sentence. Sometimes you may be given exclamatory sentences in the direct form and you will be asked to change in the indirect form. For that, I will give only one example. And then the fourth one, we have to go for subject verb agreement. Okay. And then see, he exclaimed. He exclaimed, how splendid! How splendid the sunrise is. How splendid the sunrise is. Exclamatory mark. Mostly in the exclamatory sentences, the subject and the verb comes at the end of the sentence. So you have to locate, you have to identify, and then you have to bring it to the beginning of the sentence. Okay, fine. So he exclaimed. He exclaimed that the sunrise. He exclaimed that the sunrise was splendid. He exclaimed that the sunrise was splendid. Okay? Oh, fine, children. So this is the principles and the rules and regulations that exist behind the transformation of sentences. When you are going to transform a given sentence from direct into indirect speech, these rules must be observed. And the last agreement of the verb with the subject. The last one, agreement of the verb with the subject. Here some procedures are there. We know that a verb should go, always a verb should agree with the subject. Suppose if the subject is singular, the verb should also be in singular. If the subject is plural, then you have to use plural form of the verb there. So a verb should agree always with the subject. There should not be any deviation from it. You have to follow that rules and procedure very strictly. Now, I will explain you what are all the principles that exist behind that. Okay. So very important, children, just to make a note of it. Already I have learned, already I taught you the basic principles, agreement of the subject with the verb. Suppose, for example, if the subject is singular, you have to use singular verb. If the subject is plural or if the two subjects are connected by and, then the subject becomes plural. Then you have to use plural verb. See, she, subject, verb, agreement. Subject, verb, agreement. Okay, fine. She likes to read novels. She likes to read novels. In the sentence, she, that is the subject. The subject is singular. Verb likes is also singular. So, a verb should agree with the subject in number and in person. That is already I have learned. Okay. See the next example. Sunil and Ramu. Sunil and Ramu like to play games. See the second sentence, subject Sunil and Ramu, they are plural. When you connect two singular subjects using and, then they become plural. When the subject is plural, the verb should also be plural. Okay, fine. In some sentences, the subject and the verb may be separated by several other verbs. In such cases, we have to identify the subject. Okay, then we have to use verb correctly. The noise of the, see, for example, the noise of the birds, the noise of the birds, the noise of the birds actually was a constant feature in the forest. was a constant future in the forest. In this sentence, see the subject, the noise of the birds. Here the real subject is noise only, not birds. Okay, so sometimes it may happen. In some sentences, the subject and the verb may be separated by several other words. In such cases, we have to identify the correct subject and we have to use correct verb also. So the noise is the subject. Then this noise is subject. When you use this as a subject, we have to use a single verb was. So it should go in agreement with the subject. Okay, fine. Then the third one, collective nouns. Collective nouns, when thought of a single unit, take singular verb. Sometimes collective noun may be followed by of plus noun, be a single word. Okay, I will give you example for that. Collective nouns. See, a team of players is investigating the case. Collective noun. Yeah. Team. Yeah. A team of lawyers. A team of lawyers. Yeah. Team of expert lawyers. Team of expert lawyers is investigating the case. Okay. So next, pile of clothes is waiting to be washed. A pile. See? Pile of clothes. Pile of clothes is waiting to be washed. Okay. So in this way, a herd of cattle is crossing. The committee has agreed to meet the next Wednesday. The committee has agreed. The committee has agreed to meet. The committee has agreed to meet next day. Next Wednesday. Okay, like that. See, a team of lawyers is a collective noun. So it is followed by singular verb is, because here we consider the group of things as a single unit. Therefore, we use singular verb here. Similarly, the committee, there may be many members in that committee, but we consider the members as a single unit. Therefore, we have to use singular verb only. The committee has agreed. A pile of clothes is a collective noun. Here we have a lot of clothes, pile of clothes. But it should be considered as a singular unit, therefore we use singular verb is waiting. Okay, fine. Then what is the fourth one? When the members of collective nouns are thought of as individual units, we take plural verb instead of singular verb. So, when the members of collective nouns, see, at that time, the jury were divided in their opinion. The jury, group of judges, the jury were divided. The jury were divided in their opinion. Here we consider members of collective nouns as an individual units. Okay, therefore we use plural verb. Subjects that have phrase pair take a singular verb as a pair. See, a pair of scissors sometimes. Pair of scissors. A pair is a collective noun. So subjects that have the phrase pair of, they always take a singular verb because a pair refers to only one thing at a time. A pair of scissors is needed, not all. Okay, a pair of scissors is needed. Sometimes two singular nouns joined by or, either or, neither nor, they may have a singular verb. Mary or John, Mary or John is going to escort the chief guest. See, Mary or John. Mary or John is to complete the word. Is to complete the word. Okay. So this is the procedure. When you connect two separate nouns by using either or, neither nor, or otherwise, you have to use a singular verb. Okay. Then some more examples. Some more examples. When the subject is made up of two or more nouns by correlative conjunction, the verb agrees with the noun or pronoun that is placed very closest to a. Very important. See, either my friends or my brother. Either my friends. Either my friends or my brother. Either my friends or my brother is going to book the tickets. Is going to book the tickets. Here when two separate nouns, one is singular, other one is plural. They are connected by the correlative conjunction either or. The verb should agree only with the nearest subject. So here nearest subject is my brother. It is in singular. Therefore the singular verb is. Okay, fine. Either my brother or my friend. Suppose if it changes, either my brother or friends. Here we have to use plural verb or going. Okay. Or going to book the ticket. So we have to decide. See, when two different subjects are connected by the correlative conjunction, one is plural, another is singular, the verb should agree always with the nearby the subject. If the nearby subject is singular, we have to use singular verb. If the nearby subject is plural, we have to use plural verb. And indefinite pronouns, like indefinite pronouns, many, much, anything, nothing, everything, something, they always take a singular verb. They always take a singular verb. Everything is very expensive these days. So, see, indefinite. Everything is very expensive these days. Okay, so when you have indefinite pronouns like this, we always use singular verb. Okay, fine, children. So, in this way, when you are given exercises to identify the correct verb form for the given subject, you have to follow this rules. If the subject is singular, you have to follow singular verb. If the subject is plural, you have to follow the plural verb. Thank you, children. So I hope so you have revised the things once you have learned. So it will be very useful to you for preparing for your forthcoming final examination, and prepare well. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.